Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nick Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. Today, we are joined by Earl Kilbride. Earl is a surgeon in Austin at Austin Orthopedic Institute. And Earl, thank you for joining us. Can you let our listeners know a little bit more about you and kind of what you do down in Austin? And then we'll get into some of the questions. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. So I'm a native New Orleanian. I moved to Austin in 2002, and I have been in practice here doing orthopedic surgery for the past 23 and a half years. It's been really good, raised kids here. And so I'm part of a group. There's 6 of us, and we do everything from the head to the toe that deals with orthopedics.
Awesome. Great stuff. So how did you come straight to Austin out of med school or residency, or did you guys relocate 23 years? That wasn't Katrina, was it?
No, just before then.
Okay.
I did my residency in Dallas, and so that was my sort of passport into Texas. And then once I did that, I really enjoyed sort of the Texas culture. And Austin, actually, at the time, was very much like New Orleans. There were still a lot of mom and pop shops around, kind of like Fort Worth is now. It wasn't a bunch of big box stores. And so I felt most at home still getting the Texas culture. And so it's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah, Austin has grown because I was at A&M and we'd go to Austin a lot in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was really mom and pop. Same at College Station back then, there was very few chains. Now I feel like when I go back to College Station, I'm like, this is the same restaurants that I could get in DFW or Houston. When I was at A&M, not a Chili's, Black Eyed Pea opened. It was the first big chain, and everybody went crazy. And it's like, and now you go back, I'm like, I missed all the mom and pop little diners or restaurant and barbecue places that you could kind of shack type places you could eat at back then. But I progress and I understand it, but you also miss some of those nostalgic eateries and places we got to hang out at.
For sure.
So, as you made your way through med school and got into a residency, I know orthopedic surgeons, one of the top sought after residency competition. What was something that set you apart as you've kind of made your journey, from undergraduate to med school and into your residency?
Yeah, so I had a short stop out of high school playing baseball at a school called Southeastern Louisiana. So it's much like Sam Houston State, Stephen F. Austin. For a lot of the time, they've been in the same conference. So I had an interest in sort of athletic medicine. So once I decided to go to med school, I did my med school in New Orleans and then my residency at UT Southwestern in Dallas, and then actually went out to Los Angeles and did a sports medicine fellowship in orthopedics, and then made my way back to Austin. When I was here in Austin, I initially was the team doc they used to have an arena team, if anybody remembers that. Yeah. I did that for a couple of years, and then I became the team doc at Texas State University. And I did that actually for 10 years. My kids were getting older. It's a lot of time. It's really a lot of fun. Met some good people along the way. And so that's kind of my draw back into doing what I do now.
So I have a little connection. I went to UTMB for graduate school as a physical therapist, but I did an internship at Charity Hospital in New Orleans. And so in 94, 95, somewhere around there, I lived in the Tulane dorm on Canal Street. Well, I did a 6-week internship at Charity. So that was, I don't even think that after Katrina, they shut it down, I think, but that was an interesting place to work.
I graduated medical school in 1996, so I was there at the same exact time, believe it or not, and they were starting to shut it down then. So they took all of internal medicine and moved it out. Surgery in the emergency room were the last thing to go, but they were starting the process of shutting it down. They haven't done anything with the building since Katrina.
It's still standing there, just a
still
dead building?
Standing there. There's a random light that shows up every now and then, so no one knows what's going on in there, but...
That's some New Orleans folklore. That scary
right.
stuff. Yeah, that was it. They had wards, like there would be, I think, 6 or 8 patients and then like a few nurses. So it's very different than the private. Only thing I'd ever experienced, maybe 2 people in one room, but it was a whole ward. I even had, this is going off on a tangent, but had a guy that had been shot and I'm doing physical therapy with him. He's like, "Hey, I need to tell you something." I'm like, he goes, "The guy that shot me is down there across the way in the other bed." And I'm still a student. I'm like, what the heck do I do with this information? So I go get my supervisor and I tell him the story. So they had to get security. It was crazy. I'm like, so what are and that other guy had been shot by somebody else in a different accident. I was like, man, I need to get the heck out of this place. Too many
Yeah.
people shot in here and shooting each other. So yeah, that was an experience. So I would run down St. Charles Street. I think is that the one with the trolley
Yes.
in the morning, or go into there's a little town, not Metairie, the next town to the west. There was a track I would go run on if I didn't want to run around New Orleans too late at night
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
So,
Metairie. That was it.
Metairie, okay,
Or
yeah.
Jefferson.
Veterans, it's called Veterans Park, I think. It had like a
Yeah.
2 mile jogging track
Yeah.
around it that I found out there to run through.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always funny how the last fellow I talked to, he and I were at UTMB at the same time, and he's a plastic surgeon I talked to, but he and I overlapped at UTMB at the same time. So it's small
That's
world.
funny.
Start talking to people. Well, is there something that you've had your journey through your career that you found easier that maybe others found challenging?
So I do think when we look at patients, a lot of times we see them in the office, right? And some patients will bring in videos of, here, watch me in this injury, or especially when I was on the field for 10 years, I could see the injury and sort of predict it because I had played a lot of the games. I had played high school football, I had played college baseball. And so a lot of those things did come a little bit easier in terms of the biomechanics of orthopedics. I think that's always important to sort of, it's like a coach who played, right? There's a few coaches out there that never played. Coach Fran at Texas State was actually one of them who coached at A&M.
Yeah.
But most of the coaches played. And so it's always good when you can sort of have experience in what you're doing.
Oh, for sure. You've seen those repetitions, live. It's not looking at it in a textbook or even on a video, but seeing it in person. So have you found something that maybe you can share with our listeners, something that if you want to get better at something, either a podcast or a book, something that you could recommend to the listeners?
Yeah. So, I think education is key. I think education is a great equalizer, right? It's a great equalizer for all this racism we have. It's really hard to sit next to someone in class and not like them because of the way they look or the way they dress or whatever. And so I think education is certainly key. I'm now on the back end of my career, and I guess I didn't realize as a young guy, when your senior partners are kind of giving you some advice, that it's really good to live it. You don't really need the books as much as you do. And so I would say find a mentor. I think that's probably the most important thing you can do, and just bounce things off. And it doesn't have to be the same mentor for everything that you do. Maybe you have a work mentor. Maybe you have a guy that you respect the way he treats his family, and you bounce ideas off that guy if something's not going well at home or something.
No, I think mentors are awesome. And that's a very common theme that comes up with people that I have on the podcast, just because they've had success. Success leaves clues. Also, they've maybe made some of the mistakes that you can eliminate half or three quarters of the potential mistakes you may make because you have a mentor kind of guiding you. It's and I agree too with you may need one for physical fitness and one for your work, or even buying a house, or other type of investment, just different things that people can teach you. And especially nowadays, you can find free stuff on TED Talks, or or you can find somebody local that within your work. So that's an awesome point. So
Yeah, I have 3 grown boys, and even them, they'll ask me advice. And just because someone gives you advice, and I've been on the receiving end as well, you don't always listen. But the minute you make a mistake, at least you're not crawling down the rabbit hole too far. And the guy who gave you the advice is like, hey, man, I told you so. And let's redirect and figure out a different way to do things, right?
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, exactly. So they can help nudge you back into a better path. And you may still and likely will make mistakes at times, but they won't be as severe or pronounced. So speaking of mistakes, what's one of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome in your career?
I think as medicine has changed, you sort of have to be adaptable. there's a couple of different ways that you can act and work as a physician. One is you can own your own gig. And I'm in a group of 6 and we essentially own our own gig. Another way that you may do it is you can be employed. You can be employed by a hospital system. Something like one of the big ones in Austin is St. David's or HCA. Ascension's another big one. And they do a lot of the work for you, or you can be employed by something like a university. And so I think in the end, all providers, whether it's a physician assistant, nurse practitioner, physician, you just want to take good care of patients, and you need to find a way that allows you to do that. And so for us, there's 6 of us, we own our own gig. We really have to watch the ins and outs, and it's not really the ins. We figure if we do good work, people are going to come see us, and in turn, we'll be successful as a group. But what we have to watch is we have to watch the outs. We have to watch our expenses. We have to make sure that we empower the team to make decisions. We have to make sure, because quite honestly, the lowest paid person in our office is the person answering the phones. And so you really have to get those trained up. Our people don't even sit in the office that answer our phones. We have one lady in Colorado. We have one lady in Tyler. And so we really have to stay on that and be adaptable to the what's going on. AI has been a big thing. We use AI in our progress notes when we see patients. We use AI to answer the phones for us sometimes and answer questions. We've all been online, and you got the little robot coming in the bottom right corner. And so AI is a big part of medicine now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and being able to embrace that, because if not, you're going to butt heads with it, and it's eventually going to take off. I've worked at Harris Hospital, the big hospital here, when I first got out of school. And I get together with some of the guys that still work there every 3 to 6 months. And they were saying that now, I was in the old days of flipping through paper charts. They're like, no, you come up now, you get a synopsis of everything. Like an AI bot looks through their whole chart and says, here are the things you need to be aware of before you go in and see this patient for physical therapy in an inpatient setting. So just being able to embrace that. I was there at the beginning when they started trying to digitize stuff, and went through a year of that, and then started doing home health. But I'm like, yeah, it's come a long way from the days of us pushing these R2D2 things around to take notes on, and then, stuff glitching, and you type up a paragraph and it doesn't save, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
To the days where that. So yeah, being able to embrace that AI. So that's good stuff. And seeing that it's coming in, that you guys are utilizing it too, is good to hear.
Yeah. And it's the same thing surgically with computers. The general surgeons, the OBGYNs, they use robotics. They use something called the Da Vinci, which really has sort of changed the game for them. Robotics are a little bit slower in orthopedics because, quite honestly, we're more plumbers and construction workers. And so we use saws and drills, but we use robots. We use technology. Technology, when you get your front end aligned at the mechanic, they use technology to tell you if it's aligned. They don't eyeball it. And when I started 25 years ago or so, we were eyeballing it. We now use technology to help us along as well.
Oh yeah, I've observed 2 or 3 total knees and a couple total hips, and I was like, it is carpentry, but with stainless steel tools. And these guys are measuring and using power drills and reciprocating saws, and it's a lot of stuff you would see maybe on a construction site or a wood shop, but just stainless steel and with bones instead of boards. So it's very, very interesting to see that, how it lines up, and that you guys are now using technology. Good stuff. Well, it sounds like things are going really well in business, and as entrepreneurs or business owners start having more success, they start thinking of, different ways to get out there and maybe make money, so you're not trading hours for money. Just like my PT days, I had to be present to return to do that. As you've started having more success, have you looked into any outside and creating outside income, either through stocks or real estate, just different investment opportunities? And what do you think about creating passive income through those opportunities?
Yeah, no, I think it's huge. I think inherently, as a surgeon, we're sort of risk averse, right? We were willing to put in the time, yourself included as a therapist. You're willing to put in the time, go to grad school, do a residency, the whole bit, get trained. And so just by sort of the nature of our beast, we're a little bit risk averse. As an orthopedist, we break down physically. I mean, it's hard to
pop like I said,
joints back into place.
You guys are moving heavy people and limbs and stuff.
And so to answer your question, yes, I've gotten more into from a personal level. I do a lot more teaching. I teach different procedures. I was actually one of the first orthopedist in the world to produce literature on a specific procedure called peripheral nerve stimulation. And so I literally go around the world giving talks on it.
Okay.
So it's not passive income, but it's more passive work than my daily work, right? I do a fair amount of sort of consultant work, whether that's in the legal space or product space or something like that. From a financial standpoint, yes. Healthcare related, there's things we can do. We can sort of invest in some physical therapy. That typically is more practice related. Non-practice related stuff, there's opportunities in things like imaging centers. I'm an investor in an ASC that, hopefully at some point in time turns out good returns as we grow it and sell it. From a real estate standpoint, I have a lot of friends and buddies that, they'll pick up one rent house when they're younger and sort of manage it, and then take that income and flip it into two houses. And all of a sudden it's worth your while to get a manager that can do that for you, so you're not doing the day-to-day stuff.
Awesome. Good stuff. So as we're wrapping up the interview, do you have any exciting plans or initiatives you're enacting in the next 6 to 12 months?
I don't. We just opened an ambulatory surgery center that we're pretty excited about. It's sort of based on our group up in central/North Austin, but we've really gathered some guys around the community, and we're really hoping to grow it. And the main thing is we can control the environment, and not cost, not revenue, but control the quality of care. And that's been really nice. And so patients have loved it. The reviews have been great, and so it's been good.
Awesome. Great stuff. John, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your insights with our listeners. If people would like to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, and just connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way is probably to Google Austin Orthopedic Institute and sort of message me through the website, and I'll get back with you.
Awesome. Thanks, John. I appreciate your time, and thanks everyone for listening. Be sure to like and share this episode.
Thank you.
All right, John, hang on a second. We're going to get a still picture here let me stop the recording.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.